Welcome back to a bit Gamey and latest update. It's not really a progress update exactly, as this is really my original plan, which was small unit ancients, which I've kind of scrapped. And I'm just trying to get some of the figures I got from that project to just get them finished, painted, and stored away, just to clear the decks before doing the actual projects. But the original plan was to have small units, sort of like that. 8 figures, 2 bases on the movement tray sort of thing, and for the pikes to be like that, but with two sets. So there was second set behind that first set, but it just didn't look right. So that's why I kind of scrapped that idea, and I'm trying to figure out how I'd want to base them. If I had a big enough table. I don't have a big enough table, so this is it's going to be pointless until I've done it. But at least I'm kind of figuring out what it would be like if and when I get a big enough table. So anyway, these were a bunch of figures which I had based, like this before, and I wanted to change, and it was a total nightmare because they're all glued down and based and such, but in the wrong way. So I had to rebase them, and wanted to get them into 6s instead. So instead it's going to be my standard basing for if and when I get the bigger table, which is going to be 6 figures for pikes, 4 for standard infantry, 3 for barbarians, and 2 for skirmishers. So I'm quite pleased with it in that respect, in that I've got that all figured out now, even though it's not actually any use at the moment. But anyway, so that's going to be my pike block, pike unit, pike regiment, or whatever you call it, the taxis. I think the Macedonians called them. Yeah, sort of 36 figures in all, but 32 actual pike. And then the reason I haven't finished this completely yet is I wanted to show off these Macedonian command figures, which were from the Spqr range. I've heard various people criticise the rules for Spqr, but I wasn't so much interested in that. I was just interested in the in what their resin was like. And I haven't used it very long. I've just painted those 3 up, but I think they're pretty good, to be honest, as figures. So I'll be looking into that again. I'm not sure the the relative price between them and metals. Obviously it's not as cheap as the plastic boxes. But the thing about the plastic boxes is, unless they're a certain type, like phalangites, I think they're quite good if they look kind of regimented. But a lot of other figures, I think the plastic figures look best mixed in with some metals, and I just saying these Spqr resins, they seem pretty good to me. Again, I have to wonder out what the price is going to be and all that sort of jazz. But I'll probably be looking again at those. If when I get back to doing ancients, be looking for, see if there's anything in there that I think will be suitable. So anyway, I'm going to finish the basing of. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to mention, which I forgot to mention, is getting, if you do screw up on the basing, which I have done mightily while I've been doing this stuff, constantly changing my mind about about how to base them up. And if you've got plastic figures and you've stuck them to a base using a plastic glue, then getting them off again is a total nightmare. A lot of them kind of metal figures stuff will pop off eventually if you keep fiddling with them. But the ones that are plastic ones with on plastic bases, the kind of plastic glue kind of welds them onto the base, and it's a total nightmare getting them off. And I was faffing about with it for ages, and eventually, you can see this, I got them off eventually by using these cutters. Is that visible? I don't know. And you can just about do it. If you scrape off all the rest of the stuff on the basing, and get the clippers in there and go around it, you can just about get them off. The problem is with these clippers, and probably a lot of others, you've got this diagonal shape on the car. So if you overdo it, which is you're pretty much always going to, you end up mangling the base when you cut it off. But it does work. I mean, you could probably do it another way by just trying to cut them off at the feet and then blah blah. There's probably all sorts of clever ways of doing it. But at the what I found anyway, that was a way of doing it. So it's not as traumatic as it was otherwise appeared. So I've done so many things wrong with this base, like this one. This is meant to be the command base, but the bases are different and they're slightly different height. So this was going to be the command base for one of the hoplites, but I'm going to have to cut these off as well because it just looks silly because they're a little bit lower. And also I don't particularly like the HQ figures, so I'm going to cut those two hoplites off and do it another way. So yeah, so that's the first bit of the update. That's one of the pipe blocks almost done. So I've got to finish that and put them on. And then there's so I've got enough figures for 2 pipe blocks, and I messed that up as well. I messed it up as well because I messed it up twice. One, I didn't read the instructions for the shields that the shield transfers are meant to go on white. And the second thing is, I don't know if you can see it, when I glued the second base on, there's a bit too much of a gap between the first and second. No, not the second, the second and third. So I may end up cutting those off again and gluing them a little bit further forward. So that's all very annoying. But anyway, blah blah blah. My basing disasters notwithstanding, the other thing about cutting off the base on the pikes, because they're so close together, even if you do mangle the bases up, because they're close together, and because you just swamp it all in flock, then you can kind of get away with it a bit. Because like those ones, I mean, even though they're badly painted and they've got all the colours all weird, I don't know what colour bronze that was, but it's obviously very different from this one. But no, never mind, I don't. It'll be right. But yeah, so if you're getting back into wargaming, you're going to have disasters like this. But I say one way of fixing it is one, if you're not sure how to do the basing, then just base the figures using PVA and don't flock them or anything. Just do that and play a few games and then see if you like it or don't. And if you don't, then you can just pop them off with the PVA because it's not a very solid connection. Yeah, but try and make sure you know what you want in the end before you put them on the with the kind of heavy glues. And what was the other thing? Oh yeah, and you can, if worst comes to worst, you can cut the bases off with clippers. But ideally, you get some with a flatter. I'm going to get some with a much flatter cutting edge. Not necessarily even hobby tools, but just some kind of cutting thing which I could use to take plastic bases off of plastic whatever's. Just cut them right off. Yeah, so that's the first bit. There's a bunch of other things. I'm going to finish those officer figures off, put them on the base, and then do the next bits. Was there anything else? Oh yeah, we'll come back to it, and once I've done that. So that's the completed unit. Completed unit with the kind of command figures instead of being in the centre. So I think with pikes, having the command figures in the centre kind of distracts from the or detracts from the effect of having all the pikes. So again, this is kind of like even though this is kind of not really progress, I do think the having for future reference or for whatever pikes I do, whether it's Macedonian or land snakes or whatever, I'm gonna have the command figures on the right hand edge. I think that one it kind of ticks the box for me historically, because you know, you've got to keep the lines in order and that, and I think the sergeants and the officers are going to be on the edges really to keep the line straight. Plus, it's I think it's visually, I think it works for me. Obviously, the rules which say you've got to measure things from the centre base is a bit awkward, but whatever. I say it's aesthetics or visuals is the main thing for me. So anyway, so I'm rather pleased with that, even though it's not really progress, it's going backwards. So that's the first one of those, and then you know, the second one on its way. And with the second one, I've got some phalangite command figures from somewhere. Can't remember where. Okay, so there's one box down, the Spqr commands, and halfway on the phalangite. So it's basically it's all about number of boxes at the moment. So all these boxes from when I bought stuff before, and I'm going to get rid of some boxes. So that can go in the bin now. Right. Halfway for the phalangites. Okay, so that was the first thing on the update. I mean, it was, you know, a bit of a long ramble to get to this point, but yeah, rebasing one lot of phalangites, one new base on the next set of phalangites. So that's the first two, and the second bit of almost progress was finishing the first unit of hoplites. So again, like the Celtic, I had a box of hoplites, 40 figures or 42 figures. I'm going to make, you know, 2 units of 24 out of that. And then there's the first 3 I did ages ago. That was going to be originally it was going to be a unit like that. Then I decided, oh no, I'm going to make it 3 bases instead. And then afterwards I decided it's going to be 24. So with a box of 42, so that's 2 lots of 20. And yes, going for one extra base or 2 I did recently. Again, painting not that great, but one of the things about these is the shield transfers. Yeah, they can make up for being a bit rubbish on the old painting front. But yeah, got so the problem with this is, as I mentioned earlier, you've got the command base, so I put it on the wrong base, different base, so slightly different height. So I'm going to get rid of that, and got a box of Greek hoplite command from Crusader. So I've got 2 of those. So 2 of those packets plus 5 bases each of the Greek hoplites, and that'll give me my 2 units of 24. So that's almost finished. Well, it technically was finished, but then I changed my mind, as I always do. So, but that'll be the end of another box. If it was I do that, so that'll be 3 boxes in total gone when I finish those. And the third thing, which I'm rather pleased about, even though it's not technically progress, but it's got rid of a box of gauls, and in a way that I'm rather chuffed about, because they got, say, a box of 40 gauls, divided it into 20, 2 lots of 20. Yeah, 2 warbands with their own skirmishers. So, and then with some of those gripping beast figures mixed with warlord shields, and just cracking. I think I just really like it. I mean, it's largely because, I mean, it's partly because of the base in that you know, painting them green with this kind of summer grass. It gives a nicer contrast. And the what we're doing for the Mediterranean, like the Greeks, and using what's it called, dark mud or something as a colour with patchy grass as the flock, whereas these is like a bright green with summer grass, and they just so it gives a nicer contrast. So that's part of it, and there's also partly because of these gripping beast figures, which I really like. Or rather, I like some of them. Some of them are okay, and some of them I really like. Particularly these ones with the there's a pack which has, you're meant to be holding 2 spears. So you've got two holes in the hands for spears. But you don't have to do that. You can do like what I did here. We're glued on a warlord. This one of warlord metal shields. Ones that got the 2 spears, which are good for skirmishes in my opinion. And so some of them I've glued on spears and shields, and some have got the 2 spears. And I think it's a good general tip. I think if you've got some plastic figures which are okay, you've got some are good and some are just okay, and then you get yourself some but they're cheap, and then you get a more expensive box of or packet of metals or whatever, which you do particularly like. They're just very aesthetic. Then you just whack them in the front on the base. So there was 2 lots of 3 skirmishers. And that's the other aspect of it I like is figured out my bases for when I do get a big enough table. But yeah, I just think these. I just really like these. In particular, there's well, I'll talk about it in a bit. So there's those 2 lots of 3 skirmishers, 3 skirmisher bases, because my my general plan for what I think of as a regiment is going to be 6 bases of 3 with barbarians, 6 bases of 3 warband, so 18 figures in a warband, with 3 bases of 2 skirmishers. And I'm just really happy with these all round. I say I'm still not entirely happy with the Warlord Celts, but mixed in with some other figures, they're perfectly fine. And these ones, see the ones I cut all the swords off the Celtic Warlord figures and the Warlord Celt figures, and put spears in instead. But yeah, so that's the second warband. Because I already did one, and this is the one that's got the Griffin Beast figures. So you've got these. So I've got 1 packet of. Is that visible? It's not focusing. Yeah, there's these armoured ones. 1 packet of them. So they go in the front of the because I've got armoured guys in front and some berserker types. And then the second row is more Warlord Celts plus these. I mean, the shield's a bit wrong, so I've got shield transfers, and I didn't really fancy doing Celtic shields, paint Celtic shields. So they've actually got some Frankish tourists from 400 years later who joined the warband. But yeah, so of the Griffin Beast ones, there's these ones which are like standard spear armed infantry, which are okay, they're sort of average really as figures in my opinion. And then you've got the armoured guys, which I'd say are good. They're just just good. And then you've got so they went into the warband, and then you've got these figures, which are the shirtless skirmisher ones. I hope it's kind of right. Another one on the right there. So they're good as well. So I say the standard ones with spears I think were average. the armoured ones and those shirtless guys with spears, I'd say are good. But then my favourites are these ones with the two hands. They're just, I don't know. I mean, they particularly work. My favourite is this guy. Oops, spear fell off. Is that guy in the front there? As you can see that. Just like his pose. He's very kind of nonchalant, just standing there. And I just really like him. I mean, and particularly if you compare them with the warlord shields, those kind of shields work very well, I think, for skirmishers. So anyway, so I'm just very pleased with these. It's just even though I won't be using them for like, I don't know how many years it takes me to get a decent sized table, I'm kind of happy that it's all figured out. I know what I'm doing, and that these are all come out looking nice in the end. 3 to a base. I think that works better for barbarians myself. A bit more loose formation. I mean the shield transfers when they work are nice, because the shields I got from Griffin Beast, they don't necessarily work with the Warlord Celt ones, shield transfers. But a few of them, and there is I did see a video, someone YouTube video, of someone who was painting Celtic patterns on shields, which is it looked reasonably easy to do. I didn't do it because I'm basically lazy and I wanted to finish them. But I'll put a link in the WhatsApp to his video. So I want to do it again sometime. When if I ever finish off or ever get back to doing a Gaul army, I want to do some more. Shields. But yeah, no, so I'm very pleased with that, because it says a whole box gone of from my shelf that has been staring at me for ages, and I'm definitely very happy with I'm very pleased with the results. And then going forward, I'm going to be doing this again. Getting some mixing plastic boxes with metal figures, and for aesthetics. And again, doubly recommend the at the very least, the packet of skirmishers from the ones with 2 hands from Griffin Beast for your Gaul skirmishers. I think they're great. Yeah, so I think that's that. Oh yeah, brief historical note. Apparently, according to the Romans, what the Celts used to do is I think it's called lye, L-Y-E. So I think it's something to do with butter. I'm not entirely sure. I should check actually. They used to put it in their hair and kind of spike their hair up, so it's like a punk haircut, but with this lye, and it's yellow coloured. That's why they're all got they've got sort of yellow tint to the hair. The last on the pile of shame was actually the last. It's going to be like about halfway on all the ancients I bought that won't be working with, but I just want to get rid of them so the boxes don't shout at me from the shelf. So I've got half a box of Greek hoplites, so another 20 of those, plus 2 lots of hoplite commands from Crusader. So that'll finish that lot off, and that box can finally go away. So I've done 12, so there's another 20 phalangites. Phalangites, or however you pronounce it, with another Crusader phalangite command. So that'll be them gone. I've got a Vercingetorix Warlord, so I want to do up in a command base. Not quite sure what with yet. Oh yeah, I saw a Celtic standard bearer on the Warlord site, so I might do that one and turn that into a command base next time I do an order for Warlords. and there's still 12 Nubians. This is so totally nuts. It's completely, I mean, even if I was planning to do, you know, ancient battles, this complete mixture of time periods and regions is totally nuts. But anyway, yeah, so there's another 12 Nubians on top of that. So I don't know what that is, 20, 40, 50, so there's about 70 figures. But that'll make a nice hole in my shelf full of where this, which is currently full of boxes, various kind of boxes. So, you know, not too bad. And I think I'm going to try and get that, you know, that done and create a nice hole in my shelf. Because that's basically what it's all about. You know, filling your shelf up with stuff and then getting rid of it again. We shall see. So yes, that's the current update. It's not really going forwards. It's not really a progress update. It's going backwards really, or rather, it's 2 steps backwards or 1 step backward, 2 steps forward maybe, or 2 steps back and then 2 steps forward. But still, anyway, that's the plan. Okay, to the bit.